Happy Friday. Welcome back to the Cannabis Events Talk Show hosted by Event.io. And I am your host, Adelia Carrillo. I also am the CMO over here at Event.io. And a little bit about the show for those that are new. The Cannabis Events Talk Show covers all about cannabis events, experiences, and tourism. We keep you updated on all the hottest topics from current news, trends, interviews with event guests, or those in the hospitality and tourism industry, to marketing tips and much more. Now, the lineup of the show is I'm going to bring our special guest up to join us. We will go into a deep dive of an interview to share some insight, get some advice and tips. And then our guest and I will go over some industry news. Then we'll end with some updates and announcements, and that'll be the show for today. So if you're tuning in from LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, please comment, say hello, join the conversation, ask questions. We want you to be a part of this show just as much as we are. So before I bring our guest up, we're going to do the double checking like we always do. Make sure that we're live everywhere. Oops, can hear myself. So we are live now we're good on Facebook. Let's check out Twitter. How's it going over there? And we are, let's see, come on, Twitter. We are live on Twitter. And what about my LinkedIn community? Are we live? And we are live. So, as I mentioned, join the conversation, ask questions, and just tune in and enjoy the show. Now, I am so excited to introduce you to this week's co-host. Her name is IxChel, co-owner of Mujeres Valley Campground. IxChel is a business and land owner in New Mexico and creating safe spaces for BIPOC with her husband at Mujeres Valley Campground. As a cannabis activist, wellness coordinator, herbalist, and business consultant, she's constantly advocating for community collaboration and plant medicine in her work across different industries over the past 15 years. And we've kind of been connected on social, but I've, been able to do my research, and just the few times that I've spoken to her, she just brings amazing vibes. So I am so excited to have her here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, IxChel.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So honored. Thank you.
Of course. So I gave a little bit of backstory, but, if you can just share a little bit more, like, how did you get into the cannabis industry?
Yes, happy to share that. I initially got into the cannabis industry shortly out of high school. And that was really just because I had migraines. I was diagnosed with chronic migraines. I pretty much went through the whole Western medicine thing. They tried all these different medications on me. Nothing worked. They were really bad to the point where I wanted to slam my head against the wall just to make them stop. So somebody told me about cannabis. I was not a believer because I grew up in a family. So I was very brainwashed at the time, was like, oh, it'll kill your brain cells and all that crazy stuff. So I went against what I was brought up on, and I went and I got a medical card. And I've pretty much been an advocate since, because it just works in so many areas of life in general. And that I'm Rasta, we consider it a sacrament. It's a full body, a part of life and my being and things. So that was probably around 2009, and I've kind of just in it. I've been really reluctant to get into the industry, but we've kind of been pulled in. A lot of people have been like, hey, buy this dispensary, hey, help us with this, and we've kind of been like just because of the background, the law enforcement background. So I'm really excited in the light about it now, and really owning it and really showing people how much I love it. So I'm really excited about this is a whole different level that I've never been out about cannabis about, really.
Well, and I know that feeling, and different backgrounds, as we all do as humans. But my parents, actually, my stepdad was a sheriff and a cop, and my mom worked for the district attorney's office. So it was just an interesting way to grow up.
It really is like,
um, yeah. Now, let's dive more into, Mujeres Valley Campground. How did that evolve? What is the vision behind it? Yeah, let's learn all about this.
Yes, definitely. So we pretty much ended up in Mexico. I'm originally from California. My husband and I left in 2013. And then we bought our first house in Colorado. We were in Colorado, the Green Rush. Again, we were like being pulled into the industry at that time. So we kind of like stayed out. We did our own wellness thing. We made our own wellness products, and we kind of like girded around the cannabis issue while we were in Colorado. Um, but then my husband wanted to, we were doing on a more massive scale. So he's always wanted to buy land, but when he saw how well we were doing with our wellness products, he wanted to expand to be able to build our own manufacturing space on our own land and homestead and all that. So I'm straight from the city. Not my dream. I was not excited to live on raw land at all. But I wanted to also like make space my husband wanted to do in our relationship as well. So I went along with it. We came out here. It was very hard, but we ended up being drawn to 63 acres. And I say that because we didn't know where we were going when we left Colorado. We didn't have a house or anywhere to live for a good month. We had mapped out these places to go look at, like 20 lots of land from here to Arizona, California, Oregon, just everywhere all over the country. We were like, we're going to be open. Take us where you want us to be. And we just gave in pretty much. Like it really like a big part of our spiritual healing. So we gave in, we listened to spirit. Everything fell through before we even got to Arizona. So we get to New Mexico and we're like, well, I guess we're looking at land in New Mexico because everything we wanted on, and it was our last resort. The agent couldn't have property we wanted to look at. It was a 20-acre property. She could have markers, and then she took us to where she thought it was. There was somebody's house in it, so we're like, no. She ended up asking us what we wanted to do, and we told her that we wanted to create community space. First off, for our family to create generational wealth. We're the only ones in our family to own any type of property like this. So for us, that was a big thing. And we wanted to open up the land to our family first, which we did, but too radical for our family. They're just like, there's no way I'm leaving California. So that didn't really like bring anybody out here yet. Now they're kind of open to the idea, but it was a community space. When we saw that a lot of people want to come out first at it, we were like, okay, well, let's think this. And so we set aside 20 acres to be the campground, which is just an homestead. And the homestead is meant to be sustained. We want to occupy the space. We want to build it up, but we want to do it respectfully. We want to do it with the low current and as indigenous as possible. Me and my husband are both indigenous. My husband looks more Black. But we're also our roots, so we don't know where we're actually from. Our families don't want to share that with us. So we're kind of like on this journey as well. And we're just like, we just want to do it as possible. So we want to renew the trees out here, this to be filled with redwoods until they were all milled. And now the land is depleting in the sense of it doesn't have as much nutrients. So we want to restore the nutrients in the soil. Hopefully, we want to do that with cannabis and hemp. So we've been working a lot with the land and where we're at with the land, as opposed to like, let's go buy all this soil and just, make our plants do what it do and make our money and all that. No, we want to be mindful of the land when we're here. So it's been a while establishing that. We were established in 2017, but we had nowhere to live. We were living out of a tent. So we really weren't in a space to host people. We always have had it open to where if you want to come pop up a tent and just do it the hard way, the way we're doing it, you're more than welcome to. But now we're finally at a place where we're seeking investors and we're talking to people about helping us build structures. Themed structures is what we want to do. We want to do different themes and set up little tiny homes that people can come and visit. Eventually, we want to build out into a resort. So, beginning stages right now of having the land as a campground and opening people. We've had so many people this year. It's been so amazing to meet people from all over the world coming through New Mexico. It's crazy.
That's exciting. That's so good. And, just even your approach, it just really speaks so well to your and your husband's own mission and values and stay, um, keeping the focus on your intentions, and I think that's vital for what you're trying to do. But it'll also gravitate and attract the right either partners or investors or even potential guests that want to come in and vision and align with your vision. So I'm excited to see this
Yeah.
beginning infancy, continue to grow and in 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, we'll just continue to see you evolve into that resort one day, with that whole sustainable approach, which is going to be amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited that you'll be able to see that.
hmm Yes, me too, right? I can't wait. So, with this, you spoke about what you guys have done, how you've evolved it, where it's at currently. So let's say I'm ready to, I'm watching right now and I'm like, I really wanted to go camping. Let's go here. What do I need to do? Is there like hookups? Is there, what is the whole process like for somebody that's going to go camping?
Okay, so right now, and we probably won't have hookups. I'll say that right now. We do a well on the campground, but right now there's no electricity, no running water, there's nothing. It's just straight raw. So we've partnered with RV Share and on our website, and they allow you to use other people's RVs. And so that's what we've been recommending is if you RV or a camper, rent an RV or a camper through our affiliate link, because that way you'll also be able to support the campground, get money back for that. And then visit the campground. And what we've been doing is we honestly just treat everybody like family. Like we be really hard about not letting people onto the homestead private, but we're really just like we want to make it comfortable for people. So if like you need a shower, a running shower, or something, you're going to be here for a week, we'll let you onto the homestead. Or if you need more water and you want to come get it yourself and see what it feels like to have to carry water for a mile to where you need it, people want to experience that. So we let them, or we're trying to be really flexible right now. Again, we just want to make people feel welcome on the land and just help develop that connection. And a lot of times the only thing that we can really do to facilitate that is to just give the space and just be supportive, because everybody is going to be in a different way. I always joke about it, but it's so serious. I was the nastiest person when we were out here learning how to live because I didn't have water, I didn't have electrical, I was cranky, I was hungry, I wanted internet. It was just like having a tantrum over everything. And sometimes you need that, like to disconnect, like really not have the to Wi-Fi or to internet. So we're raw. You probably won't service here. Maybe on one of the hills on the way here, but it's really raw. By the time April rolls around for our Ganja Freedom Fest, we will have internet service. We'll have some community areas up like community showers, solar showers, and then our next big thing is to do our own toilets, our own community composting toilets, so that way we can eventually use that. So that long term, I mean, it's kind of weird, but if you use the restroom at the campground, you're still contributing to the land.
Yeah, no, everything goes back to it. We do have a question,
Yes.
so I'm bringing it up here. Michael would like to know, can you give us an idea of where Fence Lake is located?
Yes, and I did see that Michael's from the 505, so he's local to New Mexico. And I want to point out because Fence Lake is a very unknown area. A lot of people aren't aware of it. We go to Albuquerque all the time, and they're like, "That's at." So we're located between Acoma Pueblo and Zuni Pueblo, which is close to the Arizona border, and we're probably about an hour and a half south of Gallup. So I hope that helps.
Perfect. There was another question, and you don't, you can answer it, or you can, however you want to answer it. So the next question is from Justin, and he's wondering, will ethogens be allowed in the future?
I really know what that word means. Let me look up. Hold on.
I think it's referencing to like mushrooms, and I believe mushrooms and mescaline and things like that.
Definitely, yeah. We were so excited the first year. We found 7 different types of mushrooms here on the property, but since we've been here, we've evolved more to learn more about different plant medicine. So we're open to all types of plant. For our upcoming event, we do plan on having like trip sitters and stuff there, so that way if people, do want to, partake or do any of that, they can do it in a safe space where they're supported by a therapist who's trained to handle that.
Wow. Wow, that's exciting. So let's dive into that a little bit more. You've mentioned the Ganja Freedom Fest, and it is coming up. And when you shared me all the fun things and just a creative approach that you and your husband have built around this, I was so excited. So let's dive in. Yeah, can you describe the event for our guests or for our audience?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. So, because I mentioned we've been trying to get people out a few years and it hasn't really worked, we wanted to host our own event on the campground so that vendors and business owners and all different people can have an opportunity to come on, make some money, have a good time. My husband is really into music, so he took the festival vibe and just amplified it. He booked up, I think we have 25 performers, so we'll have over 30 hours of music. And then I pretty much handle all like the vendor stuff. So my husband and I have been vending for about 6 or 7 years now. So we've dealt with a lot of different events across the country. And in order for most people are driving 2 hours to get out here from Albuquerque. So to make it really worth people's time and to make it official for everybody so that they're not coming out here and just spending money with us, we built in a kickback program for our vendors. So for every dollar, we're giving our vendors 10% back. And then their customers or their supporters are also getting a vendor code, and they're able to support by also getting another 10%. So we're trying to make it where we're helping to put money back into the community, and we're not just those organizers that are like, hey, pay us $100 a pop, and then you do your own advertising, you get your people here, and that's all you get. It's very cutthroat sometimes, and in these we just wanted to open up New Mexico because New Mexico is a little far behind in regards to this. Coming from California and then seeing the same a little bit behindness in Colorado, we know what we're dealing with in New Mexico. So we also want to educate people. You know what I mean? A lot of our vendors, we've been teaching them about graphics and like little things that come with setting up for the vendor process so that they can be ready for big and so that these are just some of the ways we want to like give back to the community. But the main thing was opening up the space. We wanted to make sure people could come out here and eat without leave. So we'll be having a wing eating contest. Frank's famous chicken and waffles was recently featured on Diners, Drives, and Dives. We were on the show, and Frank will be out here serving his food that has never left Albuquerque. So we're really excited to have Frank. And then we also have another food vendor that's doing traditional Mexican food. She's doing like 5 or 6 different colored tortillas, all handmade. Like, I'm really excited. We just have amazing vendors, and just like people who just like, they'll come and like, I have these ideas, if it's okay, do this. So we have a lot of like sub events at the event. Seeing a full moon session. I didn't even realize that one of the days is the full moon. So April 16th is actually moon in Aries. I'm wrong, but so we'll have a full moon event ceremony, have a wing eating contest, we have a smoke contest, we have 7 different levels of prizing away like Puffcos and Puffco Peaks, exclusive pens. We have glass to give away. We have tons of stuff. Raffle tickets. So we've advertised all of the performers ahead of time on our website, and that's ganjafreedomfest.com. And so we're pretty much having these lives on Instagram where we're playing artist music that's going to be there. And then if somebody can guess it, they're getting 5 free tickets. We want to get people excited. Like I would love to keep some of these prizes. They're gorgeous. Some of this glass, and I'm just any of it because it's like for everyone else, but would be really excited for the event.
Well, it's definitely going to be a fun-filled event, and so much, just so many things to do, and two, just disconnect. Yeah, I know you stated you're getting the Wi-Fi for those that, that may not be able to fully let go, which that's probably somebody like me. I try, but but it's going to be, it's going to be an amazing event. So let's pull it up on the screen there, and ganjafreedomfest.com, right? Is the website?
Yes, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So if you all want to learn more, check out ganjafreedomfest.com. It's right up on your screen right now. And then we are going to, I'm going to ask you one more question before we dive into the news articles. So this one's more about some, advice, as a tourism focused business. I know you're still semi-new, but how have you used the past 2, challenging years to enhance your business?
Honestly, the last 2 years for us have been amazing. The
That's good.
2 years before that, we learned how to not have contact with people regularly, not be able to see people in person, not be able to see our families. And the previous 2 years before COVID was like really depressing for us. So we were kind of both sitting here like, everyone's tripping. We're good. Let's get it going. Like, so we've just been like working, like we wanted to do our first event last October. And we tried to with some sponsors and some local people, and it didn't happen. So we were like, okay, well, we won't push it. So we just try to honor what spirit is telling us, and we try to pay attention. If we're hitting walls, then we're like, okay, let me step back for a second. Let me take a breath. Let me see if I need to, center yourself. We have to center ourselves. The land really helps us do that, being able to walk 2 miles and not see another person, another store, another anything. It's good because you don't have those distractions. So we've just been like just going full on. When we got here, it really tripped us up learning how to like live out here differently and ranch farming and all that. But it was like once we got our footing, we're just like, okay, we're good. So we're excited. The last 2 years have been a great way to prepare, and we've been focused on learning like what we haven't known. So we've been from business plans and financial plans and all that. But what we've never done is like create a pitch deck or made an actual pitch or something like that. So we've been trying to focus on our weaknesses, like where are we not that great at? And then let's hone in on that so that we can be better in just more areas.
Yeah, that's so good. So Danielle says, congrats. She says, even the food sounds like a reason to attend.
Yeah.
And hi,
We do
Casey.
some food.
Go ahead.
Sorry. We just had some people viewers from Albuquerque tell us that they're coming out. And the other thing, we have a lot of birthdays that are coming out to celebrate their birthday. So we were probably going to get some special gifts or that or something for all the April birthdays.
Oh, I love it. Well, good. Well, again, let's throw those links back up. So also, if you want to learn more about the campground, you can find out down below. I just showed it on the screen, mujeresvalley.com. And you also can find them on Instagram as well. So if you want to go, camp and disconnect before the festival, you're more than welcome to contact them to learn more. And we're going to dive into our first article of the day. So for those that are new here, how it normally goes is we will go into reviewing a few articles each week about either cannabis events, tourism, hospitality, consumption lounges, anything around that sector of things to keep you all updated. And then our guest of the week will, provide some insight, commentary, or just thoughts about the article. So article number 1. The past few weeks I've been talking about Lone Pack quite a few times. They've been in the news a lot lately. Um, and this article is focusing on something a little bit different. So now they've officially gave the green light to public cannabis smoking events. Initially, when I spoke about this, they were still in the back and forth. And they had to make some a little bit more had a couple more meetings to figure it out. But how it went is, so temporary public events where people can buy and can consume cannabis have been given the green light at 3 city parks in Lone Pack. Lone Pack was also the first city on the Central Coast to allow cannabis lounges. And now it may be the first to host ongoing public cannabis events at city-owned parks. One of the things Mayor Janelle says is they're taking a different approach other than a lot of their other communities. Some have banned it completely, others allowed only manufacturing, and they wanted to take a different approach. Osborne believes that they can be similar to beer and wine festivals. Attendance will be capped. The venue host would have to provide a private security at a level ordered by police, and a medic would have to be on site. Now, these events could include conferences, trade shows, festivals, all centered around cannabis. And they also recognize that this is a great way for them to bring in much needed money that the city needs. They've stated a little bit more that the parks are there for their families and their kids, but as a town of 40,000, they have 200 acres of park, and it's expensive, and they need revenue to help. And these events can help that. Now, before I end the article and we dive more into it, she said that these events will be done on a trial basis, and it may not be happening so soon. It could take up to 6 to 9 months for a permit to host an event. So anybody that's interested should probably start discussing now. But what are your thoughts on this when you read this article?
I was excited. I was like, that's cool because it's good to know about other, I guess, kind of like breaks in, you know what I mean, in other places. But it also made me thankful for the campground. So all the land that we have is unrestricted. So that's part of like coming out here and learning how to blend and what that means and the different things that come with it, from real estate, buying a house in the city, has been just like crazy. And I feel like us finding restricted 60 plus acres was just like, thank you. I would have never known to look for that. Because had it not been, then we might be in that position next year, having new, and we still might, I know that the cannabis industry changes very rapidly. I saw it in Colorado. So that's the other thing too, is like we're preparing, but it's good to that it's happening in the cities, especially on parks, because a lot of times those are very areas. Like, even though they say it's, for the community and this and that, I mean, realistically, nobody feels safe in a park. So at least let cannabis users feel safe somewhere in the city,
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I think you're right on that. And too, like you said, it's exciting because it allows for these other conversations to have in other areas. You bring up a good point. They are not normally utilized as often, maybe when we grew up. I know back in the day we would utilize them a lot more. But yeah.
Yeah.
So article number 2. This one is focused around Thailand. So we're getting out of the US for a moment. And many of you may have heard this before, but there's a little bit of updates that have happened. So Thailand decriminalizes cannabis. So extracts with high inducing THC, though, is still an illicit drug. That's the title. So now Thailand's health minister, Tunin Charnavakul, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, has confirmed that the Narcotics Control Board has approved the removal of cannabis from the Category 5 list of controlled drugs. Now, according to a report from the Associated Press, Atunin says the drugs that remain on the list are opium, magic mushrooms, and extracts of cannabis containing more than 0.2% by weight of THC. So there's some changes, obviously, but there's that kind of component. They say in order for the cannabis extracts to become legitimate, a regulation will need to be issued. And extracts can only be used for medical, industrial, health, or food processing reasons. Now, in 2020, the production and use of cannabis for medical reasons was decriminalized in Thailand. That meant most parts of the cannabis plant were removed from the list of controlled drugs. However, the seeds and buds primarily associated with recreational use were kept on that list. So this new proposal would actually see all parts of the plant removed from this. Did you hear about this back in 2020? Like, what are your thoughts on this? Like, yeah.
I hadn't heard about this, but I love that it was included. I kind of just giggled when I saw it. I was just like, really? Especially because I've been taking, I'm getting geared up to be a certified cannabis consultant. And so I've been doing my history part of my education. And Thailand has a lot of history in cannabis. So I feel like I kind of just felt like at the end of it, I was like, this is you all trying not to admit that you messed up this whole time and like trying to like part the plant. You know what I mean? Me and my husband talk about this a lot. It's like you can't pick apart the plant like that. You know what I mean? Like the plant is whole and sacred, all in one in and of itself. And so like picking it apart and being like, oh, this is not a good, whatever, Delta 8 for an example, whatever. And pick it apart like that. Like I don't agree with it, but I mean, it's a step. And that's after seeing, what happened in Colorado and then coming here and seeing the transition here, it's all of a process of getting people out of their own way. People have to unlearn at their own times, and they're not comfortable unlearning all at once and then implementing all this stuff. And I've also come from like a government background. I used to work for a county and like different departments. And so I'm familiar with like the HR meetings and all of the stuff that happens behind the scenes. And it's really just about them wanting to control the outcome. And leaving it on the list with some of those other drugs is just like, come on, y'all, let's move. We're like in the 21st century already.
Yes. So KC states they just lack education in the species of the plant. And then also KC, so they were saying that the extracts of cannabis containing more than 0.2% by weight of THC. So that they didn't go more into the rest of that. I don't know how that's based or why they picked that or whatnot. But yeah, and she also stated, she just replied to, it's a cultural thing from that on that end.
I agree.
So let's go into article number 3. Now, article number 3, cannabis events come out of hiding in New York City. So New York may have legalized recreational cannabis in 2021, but the state still has passed the laws that would allow in its sale in stores or its consumption at a club-like lounges. Though licenses and permits are not expected to be issued until later this year, with businesses up and running in 2023, the recreational cannabis industry is already setting down its roots. They've been hosting events aimed towards education and getting everybody really excited. Now, the article highlights a few different events, such as the Cannabis World Expo, the Cannabis World Congress and Business Exposition, which was in the Javits Center. And they also spoke about an event hosted by New York City lifestyle brand Happy Monkey. Happy Monkey, actually, this was a consumption style event that they did. Now, no cannabis was sold at that specific event. However, people were allowed to consume cannabis. And what I liked about this event that Happy Monkey was hosting, I'm all about experiences, and too, like what you guys are doing with the Ganja Freedom Fest, it's an experience. So this is kind of their approach is they had it on at a pier, so Pier 36, on a 75,000 square foot waterfront space, and they had a immersive Van Gogh experience. Like, I was just like, that's amazing. Like, I would have just loved to have been there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
The article also spoke about the Astro Club, which is a members only cannabis club that opened in Lower East Side in 2020. And so that, it draws in the who's who of the pot industry insiders, is what the article stated. And of course, with New York, we'll be able to continue to see events starting to, show back up and start being hosted again. The next Cannabis Business World Congress and Business Expo will be this summer. I just love the article overall. It just gets me excited when news platforms are recognizing events and the experiences and how important they are for this plant. What about you?
Yes. No, I was so excited because I had no idea how timely this was. So when you sent me the articles the day before, I had just seen the Van Gogh experience here in Albuquerque. I had sent my mom the link. I had looked up the dates because me and my husband, we are renewing our 10-year vows at the end of March. So I wanted to see if it was going to be available out here where my family was here. And so I was like, dang, that would be cool if you could do that like outdoors, like on a new, so dark out here, you can see every star in the sky. And I was like, wow, that would be dope. So I actually did some digging into coordinators of the event. I would love to be able to get that out here and do that out. That's so cool.
Well, Tony from Chicago, he was able to experience it over there, and he said it was definitely amazing. So we got some valid feedback too. It is what they explain it to be.
Yes, that's so cool. Yes, I'm gonna see it here in Albuquerque for sure in March.
Well, and congratulations on that too for the celebration and it's the timing good. Yeah, you'll be able to enjoy it in March.
Yes.
Next article. This is our last article of the week, and it is about weed weddings. So you can now tie the knot and throw a cannabis bouquet in Las Vegas at Planet 13's storefront dispensary. So the article goes into saying you can now say I do at Planet 13. Basically, what the article highlighted was the different kind of offerings and packages that they built out. So they're calling them the weed wedding planners, are offering couples several cannabis packages to choose from. You can get a quickie for $400, and it's a very quick cannabis wedding. You'll get 20 photos. You got Mary Mary Jane, which is about 600, and Love is in the Air for about 800. They also have a very larger scale bargain wedding package for those that want to get married in February. So anybody wanting that cannabis wedding, you can now have it at the dispensary for under $3,000. So anybody that's into that wants that cannabis wedding, Planet 13 has got you covered. So I did not expect this from a dispensary. What did you think when you were reading this?
Okay, how about I didn't catch it was a dispensary until you said it, and then I remembered the pictures. But yeah, you're right. It is crazy that it's a dispensary. I would expect more of like one of the chapels to do it first, but it makes more sense for a dispensary to do it because they have access to the product and all, the connections and stuff. What stood out to me was the 222 date because I like seeing how people like advertising their stuff. And that was one of the things that they mentioned in there, that I guess they're doing like $2,222 for like that date specifically, and it's like going crazy. Everybody's buying it up. So that stuff like that I like to pay attention to because you got to know your audience. Like if you want people to click and come and visit and support and all that, you got to know like what interests people.
Yeah. No, I love that. So I'm just throwing up some of the comments. Tony actually has all the cities that that this experience is going to. So they are going to be in all these cities for those that want to experience. Oh, Phoenix, it's coming here. So Los Angeles, yeah, it's everywhere. That's really awesome. I'm going to have to try to experience that as well. And Justin, he commented on the weed article, and he's like, it is Vegas too, right? So there you go. Oh, and then Sergio said they need a very marijuana matrimony package. I love those key names.
I feel that when I start doing weddings here on the property.
There you go. Thanks, Sergio. I'm going to throw that up so everybody can see his comment.
It looks good too.
Yeah, it looks good too. And yes, Casey, I agree. We love that. I love these as well. Well, now, IxChel, first off, thank you. I'm so excited to see again and learn about this beginning journey for you. I mean, I know it's not beginning because there's been a lot of hard work to get to this point of where you've been doing, but just to see your next chapter of expansion for Mujeres Valley Campground. Before I let you go, do you have any final words or final announcements for our guests or for our audience?
No, not really. I mean, you guys have experienced my energy. My husband's a little bit, but he's much more lively. We would love everybody to come out and experience the campground. Adelia mentioned we do have like nature walk tours, tours, and we're on a lot of different booking websites. So if you just check us out on mujeresvalley.com to all of that, and you can connect with us in many ways. We're looking for partners as well as investors and sponsors for the event. So if you're a business and you're in a position to support, please reach out to us or contact us through the website.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us, IxChel, and we'll definitely be in touch. And hopefully, I'll be out there for the Ganja Freedom Fest. I definitely need a camping trip in the future, so I'm hoping we're trying to make some things and see if we can be there. So I'll keep you posted on that.
Nice.
Thank you
Definitely
again.
let me know. And thank you.
Yeah, so sorry. All right, everyone. Well, that is this week's Cannabis Events Talk Show. A couple updates before I let you all go. So our next guest next week is Jennifer Miles of Plant Body Soul, and she is the host of Friday High Day out here in Arizona. Our highlight event of the week is Cannadelic. Cannadelic Miami is a 2-day conference and expo that fully integrates the two for professionals and consumers. They're going to have a massive expo hall with a feature of 150 exhibitors, 2 session halls with 40 plus speakers and panel tackling topics, from new licenses coming to Florida to modern day shamanism and everyday microdosing. So to learn more or to grab your ticket for this event, which is free, they do have free tickets to attend, and then they also have some upgraded tickets. Visit eventhi.io. And thank you again for joining us. We hope you all stay safe, stay healthy, and stay high. I'll see you guys soon.